I don't know if this will be a super long video, but I'm just here to record and document that I'm walking around outside in public in California in my Make America Great Again hat, because I love America and everyone in it, and I love the beliefs and ideas and laws that are the basis of the United States, which is one reason why America is great. But the most important reason is because Jesus Christ is our God. We are one nation under God, and that's not just any old God or some vague monotheism. It's Jesus Christ himself. And it was a miracle of God from Jesus that America was created, in the same way that it's a miracle of God from Jesus that the nation of Israel exists today. They're both miraculous creations of a country. Anyways, I've been told that there's no way I can walk around outside in California with my red hat unless I'll be attacked and destroyed. So I've made it all the way from my house, and I plan to just walk all the way up the block, a couple blocks to my past the main strip of my town, and see what happens. Just gotta be friendly to everybody. And so far, nothing's happened. I'm waiting for somebody to jump out of the bushes and hit me with a baseball bat, but nope. I don't want to walk forever, so I plan just to go maybe up to my shopping mall, to where my shopping mall is, maybe a little bit past, and then see where it goes from there. Probably just head right back home though. But so far, nobody's really said anything to me. One person honked at me, which I assume is a good thing. And I just nod my head courteously and respectfully to everyone who passes me by. And there happens to be a track meet near my local community college today. So, I mean, there actually happens to be like no less than, I'll say 8, maybe 10, maybe 11 groups of people, guys and gals, running around past me up and down the sidewalk outside the school here. And I'm walking right next to the road here. So there's probably hundreds of people seeing me in my hat right now. So let's see what will happen. What I want to say is that this is going to be perfectly safe and fine. People at the crosswalk, also from the track meet, nobody cared. The only thing though is people have given me looks. They give me a crosswise look once in a while, but they're all polite. So what I'm expecting is that it'll be perfectly fine, and aside from, someone possibly, yell something at me, probably not. Or else, the rumors are true and it really is dangerous, but we'll see. I'm about halfway to the shopping mall. Here's a whole bus full of people. So we'll see. kind of want to make this a long walk, but I don't think I'll record it all unless I feel I need to. Yesterday, I must have walked 6 miles. So that was fun. That's a criminal protection zone. All the good people who follow laws, who go to that college, they're defenseless. But all the bad people who don't give one bit, who don't give one care in the world, they don't have one care in the world about breaking laws. What's to stop them from going into that college? There's, the unarmed college campus security that doesn't carry firearms. How is a bad guy? Who's going to stop a bad guy? Guns decrease crime, they don't cause it. Pretty uneventful. What I'm trying to prove is that, number one, if people walk around, they're driving around, and they see a guy who is wearing his hat, maybe they'll feel encouraged, they'll have more courage to do the same thing. I just walked past the place where I talked to a homeless person a little while ago. And you know what? I got her a soda and sat and talked with her for a while and made sure she was okay. If you're listening to this, I hope you're okay still. And I prayed with her. I went across the street and came back and got her a soda. There's a whole restaurant full of people waiting to get in. Lines out the door. Not a single word. And that's how it should be. And we can have a polite discussion. They can tell me they don't like what I stand for. I doubt that they understand what I stand for. I sincerely doubt that the people understand what they're protesting. They don't understand what they're resisting. They're just told that to be angry. They're told what to think. They don't have a lot of free thought for themselves. And most of them are taking drugs. So they don't really think that clearly to begin with. So I doubt that people really understand why should you hate someone like me? Why is it okay to be racist against white people? And by the way, I'm 50% Hispanic from Spain. So, I think that the entire liberal idea that there are white people and colored people, that's a liberal idea. That's a Democrat idea. That idea that racism is okay, the idea that there are different classes and races of people, that's a Democrat idea ever since the Democrats had plantations and slaves. The Democrats, we Republicans had to fight a war to force the Democrats to give up their plantations, to give up their slaves. And Republicans like Martin Luther King, they had to do a lot of work to get rid of Jim Crow. Republicans like Martin Luther King Jr. And you know what? We're still fighting the same battle. Democrats want to judge people and divide them based on race and how much money you have. Just like they were divided in the Old South based on race and how much money you had. Are you rich or are you poor? We're going to treat you different. What color are you? We're going to treat you different. That's the way the Democrat Party is. And they still expect you, as an African American person, or as any person of any kind of minority, anyone, they expect you to work for their political plantation. They still expect you to vote for them. Oh, we're live again. Lost connection. Well, the most anyone's done is give me a weird look Or else some people, they refuse to look at me. But I mean, you know, that's their right. That's everyone's right to look or not look. Most people look. Most people are staring. But that's okay. I want them to stare. The point is that we can all live together and disagree, and it's okay. Doesn't mean you're evil. Liberals want to call everyone a Nazi, but we're not. We're actually the opposite of that. Of course, I'm waiting at the crosswalks for the light to change so I can go. It's a nice day. It's been really nice weather. Nice and sunny. Nice and windy. I like it. It seems like I live in a really safe town. And that's good. I'll tell you something. The entire Democrat belief system, it's based on the idea of it's based on a straw man. It's based on accusing your opponents of horrible, dastardly, very evil things that aren't true. And then if you can tell it loud enough and often enough, if you can have a monopoly on the entire fake news media. Did you know the entire media is a left-wing monopoly? Name one newspaper that isn't. Here we go. Oh. Very few. It's basically a monopoly of one political party. The Democrats want a one-party system, like every totalitarian dictatorship, because that's what they want, is a totalitarian dictatorship. But I digress. The whole basis of the belief system of liberalism and leftism, being a leftist, being a liberal, being a Democrat, it's based on blaming and accusing and condemning everyone else of horrible things that aren't true, like calling everyone a Nazi, calling everyone a racist. I don't see color. I love every nation. I love every nationality. I love every ethnicity. I don't have any. I don't have negative feelings, and I don't have no feelings. I have positive feelings towards every other culture, ethnicity, and race. I think there's one race, the human race. That guy's got his fancy car. I think there's one race, the human race. That's what Ken Ham says, and I agree with him because that's what the Bible says. And you know, I have positive feelings of love and friendship and brotherhood and community and being a neighbor to everyone in every community of every ethnicity and everywhere in the world. But I don't think any culture is perfect. And I think it's okay to point out where one culture or a different culture is imperfect, because that's how we get better. That's how we improve. That's how we make things righteous and good and safe for everyone, is we speak up and we make a difference. That's how Martin Luther King, he was a Republican, that's how he made a difference. And you know, how you make a difference is you, first of all, be friendly to people as much as you can. Second of all, you openly speak. And you know what? So it's okay to criticize or critique a culture or a religion or any idea or belief system. And you know, it's okay. But you know, I'll let you know about Nazis and racists. The Democrat Party knows all about racism because they had the plantations and the slavery and the Jim Crow. And even today, the Democrats are the KKK. I think about some nice African-American reporter lady. I think it was in Alabama. She had to leave her job. She was going to take over an entire newspaper, but she had to escape and get away from her job because the other guy who was in charge was a Democrat, and he supports the KKK, and that was from the I believe it's called the Democrat Reporter of Alabama. I think it's Alabama. You know, I think about Governor Northam, who's telling us that we need to kill babies who have been completely born. I think it's wrong to kill any babies, even the moment after conception, because they have a unique genetic code. They're living, they're growing. They have an independent genetic code from the mother. They have their own circulation, their own blood system. They have a heartbeat, they have feet, they have hands, they have eyes, they have a face. They feel pain. When people poke them with metal instruments, they feel pain and they flinch. But you know, Governor Northam, he went on the radio and blew it. He kind of spilled the beans there. But when he was in college, he used to dress up in the white robes of the KKK because he's a Democrat. He thinks it's funny. And that's the thing. Just because you think it's funny doesn't mean that it's not evil. You can be an evil killer and think it's funny. That makes you more evil, not less. So, you know, I think that more people just need to be brave. Just be brave. Speak up. So, I mean, I'm almost done here. I should probably just cross over now. Start making my way back.
Wait. Wait.
Winton. Walker sign is on the cross.
Wait.
Winton. Winton. Walker sign is on the cross. Winton.
Wait.
Let me tell you, what does it mean to be a Nazi? I'm not a Nazi because I believe in democracy. I believe in a republic. I believe in individual freedom and personal responsibility. I believe that everyone should have the right to be whatever religion, race, or community or color or anything that you want to be. That's not something that Nazis believe in.
Wait.
I believe that individual people should have the right to own, carry, keep, bear weapons, bear arms, weapons, and armaments, and use them for self-defense in case they're in danger, or to fight against an evil, repressive, evil government, such as Nazi Germany. That was the first thing that Adolf Hitler did. He enacted a complete gun registration. And immediately after he did a complete gun registration, he did a complete gun ban of all guns after he completely registered all guns. And then that was why he was able to have a dictatorship where he did so many evil things, is because the civilians, the people, not the police worked for him. The policemen of Germany joined up with Hitler. No, and so that's why American law enforcement officers, you need to realize there's a difference between the letter of the law and what's right and wrong. And if you are asked to do evil things, then you have to be an oath keeper, not an order follower. I was just following orders is the basis for every atrocity in history. You know, I was just following orders is the excuse of every Nazi soldier, of every communist soldier. Whenever anyone in any army did something wrong, I was just following orders. I was just following the law because the law said that Jewish people are illegal. Let's see if this guy stops for me here. You know, that's why, and you know, it wasn't, you know, a real president who said, you know, oath keepers are bad. It was the president who was a dictator. Barack Hussein Obama was a dictator. He doesn't care about democracy. He doesn't care about America or free speech or anything. He cared about writing executive orders to do whatever the heck he wanted. He broke every single rule of the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. He broke every single law. He was just based on breaking the laws that make America a safe place. America used to be a safe space. America used to be a safe space until Barack Hussein Obama decided that he was Barack Obama is more of a Nazi than anyone. If you think about what Nazism is about, destroying free speech, taking away guns from the people so that you can't resist evil. You know, he hated law enforcement. He hated the laws. He thinks that the Constitution is an obstruction. He wanted to tear down America. He wanted to have racism against a certain group of people, which just happens to be Jewish people and white people. You can be a Nazi, but you can do it for any ethnicity. It doesn't matter. It's not about being white. It's about you choose one ethnicity, you say that they're going to be in charge, and then you punish and persecute everyone else who's not that one. It can be white, it can be black. You can be a black fascist, you can be an Asian fascist, you can be whatever you want. It doesn't matter. It's a belief system. It can transcend any ethnic group. It's just a pattern of lifestyle. Barack Obama believes in a single, powerful government from the center that doesn't have to be based on laws or rules or votes, but it's based on what one man says he wants to happen. And then he just writes it into law and he does it. That's what dictators do. The government controlling the economy, that's a fascist idea. Whereas conservatives like Donald Trump, we want everyone to be free. You can do what you want. You have free speech. The people can have armaments and weapons, whatever you want, to be independent from the government if it becomes evil. You can defend yourself. You can speak what you think. The government does not control the economy. You know, because, you know, the freedom and everybody can be what they want to be. The freedom that conservatism is about is the exact opposite of fascism. Fascism is a form of socialism. Why don't you go look at history? Adolf Hitler's Nazi Party in 1935, NASDAP, National Deutsch or German Socialist Workers' Party. That's what they were. Adolf Hitler was, when he ran for election, and Adolf Hitler did have to get elected, he ran for election against a Republican. He was running against the Republican president, Paul von Hindenburg. The Republican president was a capitalist and a Republican, and he was running against Adolf Hitler because Adolf Hitler was the exact opposite of the Republican capitalist democratic individual who was Paul von Hindenburg. You know, fascism is autocratic, oligarchical, and socialist and collectivist. That's the exact opposite of the free libertarian Tea Party. Everybody has their own control of themselves. Conservative belief system. Fascism is a left-wing ideology. It's based on socialism, collectivism, and autocracy, where one man or small groups of people can, working together in secret from a committee inside a government building, they're able to make decrees and decide who lives and who dies, what laws we can follow, what laws we can break, and what laws we can make up to oppress people. Anyways, I just got on a rabbit trail there. But the entire liberal belief system, the leftist, liberal, Democrat belief system, is based on, telling lies. and accusing other people of things that aren't true to make them into monsters so that it's okay to, dehumanize conservatives, dehumanize straight white males or whatever, dehumanize Donald Trump so that, call him a Nazi so that you can say, oh, it's okay to go attack Nazis. Well, that's wrong. It's all based on a straw man to falsely accuse people who are innocent as if they were really bad people and then attack them. So, but it's complete baloney. There's nothing to it. Wait at the crosswalk. Oh, here we go. I think the Democrats, I'm up closer here now, so people are really close to me when I walk past them. And so they're giving me some dirty looks, but oh well. I'm not afraid of people's feelings. I'm not afraid of their, giving me a nasty look. They can do what they want. Doesn't mean they're right. Just because you get all upset and get triggered, and by the way, what are you triggering to do? You liberals, you get triggered. Well, a trigger is part of a weapon. So you're saying that you're triggered, you're part of a weapon. What happens when you pull a trigger? A weapon. You guys are becoming nasty, vicious, hateful people against anyone that you are triggered against. Saying that you're triggered is the same as saying, I'm mad, so I have an excuse to be a horrible person and to show hatred towards someone else. And that's most of what you get is a bunch of, non-player character, memorized stuff that your iPhone told you, CNN told you, not even whole sentences, just little bits and pieces of sentences, buzzwords, hype, buzzwords, just, terms and symbols and ideas and statements, but you don't actually know what's going in behind why would you believe those things? I think that the Democrat Party, the leftist party, is still, they're not liberal, they're very constrictive. They're authoritarian. The people who are social justice warriors, they're not disobedient, they're excessively obedient. They're frighteningly obedient because they're obedient to whatever their political masters tell them to believe on the news, and they're obedient to whatever CNN or other left-wing monopoly tells them to believe in. It's just radical obedience to an evil belief system. So, most I've gotten is some bad looks. That's okay. But you feeling, angry and ruffled feathers emotions that bothers you or makes you unhappy is not a crime. And second of all, it doesn't mean that you're right. You can get all upset at someone who's actually, they're on the right side of history. They're actually on the true side of what's right and wrong. And you're getting mad at them. That just means you're getting mad at what's good. You're just getting angry at good people. I think the leftist party, the Democrat Party, is still the party of prejudice. As a conservative, I look at everyone and I don't assume that I know what they think. I don't assume what you believe. Everyone to me is an open book, is a book I've never opened yet. It's a book that I've never read. I don't know what they believe. I never assume what people believe. They could be anywhere. They could think anything. But as a Democrat, you look at my red hat and you say, oh, he's an evil racist Nazi. And he hates anyone who's not white. But you Democrats are the ones who have KKK, the Confederacy, racism, Jim Crow, and slavery plantations. That's the left-wing Democrat Party. You're talking about yourself. Don't go around having plantations and then blaming conservatives that you had plantations as if we did it. You did it. That's history. Go look it up. Don't blame conservatives for being Nazis. Nazis were left-wing socialists. And they were cultural liberals because they wanted to completely reshape and change culture to match their own twisted image. They're not conservatives because they wanted to change and destroy the beautifully free and good culture that Germany used to have before Hitler. So, I mean, the people who most are the same as the Nazis and the racists are the left-wing Democrats, who are left-wing social liberals. They're not liberal in the sense of giving you personal freedom. Quite the opposite. They want to control your life with the government. But they're liberals in the sense that they want to completely change and reshape culture. But I mean, the Democrats are the party of the Confederacy, the South, the KKK, Jim Crow, racism, the plantation, and slavery. Martin Luther King was a Republican and he was protesting against Democrats. Why did you go back to the plantation? In order to keep them in power. There's nothing that's more spooky. It's spooky similar between Nazis and anybody is the left-wing Democrats. They're very spooky similar. Get out of some people's way. Most people don't care. Most people give me a stare. Some people give me angry looks. One guy flipped me off. But you see, I'm not taking his picture. I could take his picture, but then he would be upset about that. So, I mean, I can go into it more some other time, but the left wing is really similar to Nazis. You know, I think about Kanye West. Kanye West is a proud African-American man. He's got his own mind. He thinks his own thoughts. And look at how CNN treated him. They called him all kinds of hateful racial insults on CNN, on public national television. They called Kanye West on CNN words that I do not care to repeat here. Words that are unspeakable. Because in the end, Democrats have always been Democrats. They love their slavery. They love their plantation. They're okay with you only as long as you vote for them and give them power and say that they're great. Otherwise, they'll explode on you with hatred. I think about Kanye West. He didn't deserve what happened to him. He's a good guy. He's got his own opinions. He can say what he wants. I think it's a racist idea to to assume that because you belong to one culture group or another, or one ethnic group or another, that means you have to vote a certain way. That's a Democrat idea. That's a racist idea. I believe that everyone has the free right to believe whatever they want to. I don't assume based on their gender or based on their ethnicity or whatever that they should be one way or another. And if they don't conform to that stereotype, then you're a horrible, evil person and you've forsaken your ethnicity. That's a Nazi idea. That's a racist, Nazi, left-wing Democrat plantation idea. Conservatives are the opposite of racism, and we always have been. Conservatives are and Republicans are the opposite. Conservatives are the opposite of Nazis, and we always have been. But there's nothing that's more spooky, similar, it's like a clone. It's like everything is matching between Nazism and fascism than the Democrat left-wing party. The radicals. There's no, middle of the road. They'll call you a middle of the road if you're anywhere to the left, to the right of Bernie Sanders. That's their definition of middle of the road. A centrist. There's no such thing as centrist. The Democrat idea of a centrist is the idea that you're to the right hand. You're to the right hand of Bernie Sanders. So if you're not Vladimir Lenin or Vladimir Stalin, and what was Lenin's first name? If you're not Joseph Stalin or Vladimir Lenin, then you must be, a centrist, and that's crazy. They're forcing you into the extreme. You don't have to be, but they want to be extreme. So, I think that you're calling up down and you're calling down up. You're calling things the opposite of what they really are in order to hide your own evil intentions. And maybe you are not doing this. Maybe you are just, you're just on the bottom of this. You're on the ground level. But, that means that you're getting used. People are using you. They're using you and abusing you in order to, add numbers, add faces, add people to a bad movement that's doing bad things. And so if it's a bad movement that's doing bad things, such as the left-wing Democrat Nazi Party, which is exactly what the Democrat left-wing liberals are, then that means that you're helping them out, whether you mean to be or not. Somebody was happy with me. It's the people who are happy to see you that make it worth it. Cross the street, wait at the crosswalk. So I'm not saying that all the people, if you're listening to this, I think you should walk away. But I'm not saying that everybody who's on the ground floor, on the grassroots level of the left-wing liberal Democrat Party are evil Nazi racists. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying is people are taking advantage of you and they're deceiving you, they're lying to you about what they really are so that you'll vote for them and continue to give them power. And they can use you as part of their movement in order to get more faces, more numbers, more bodies on their side. So it's very dishonest. But if you want to join the party of honesty, then I would say you should walk away from the Democrat Party and take a look at considering what the Tea Party, what, American, pro-America, love America, constitutional conservatism, Tea Party conservatism, or even libertarianism has to say, because, these ideas are powerful and righteous. And, it's the whole Democrat belief system is based on lying about people in order to make everyone else look bad. But in the end, it's not really true. And you know what? Donald Trump didn't write the Mueller FBI report. Mueller wrote the FBI report. And you know what? Mueller was telling us lies every single day about how Donald Trump was supposed to be a criminal. And you know what? Donald Trump was not a criminal. After 2 years of investigation, 4 separate independent investigations by 4 different groups to investigate the false police report that was based on a fictional story that was paid for by Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton paid a company called Fusion GPS to hire someone to write a story about Donald Trump and golden showers. That was a story that Hillary Clinton paid a journalist to write using a company called Fusion GPS as the middleman. But Hillary Clinton paid for this. She paid someone to create false evidence, false documents that are not real or true, in order to falsely accuse someone who is innocent just because she hates him. I think that's hateful. I think that's a Nazi thing to do. I think that's a pure evil thing to do. It's a pure evil thing to do. It's evil to write a false document, to manufacture fake evidence that isn't real or true, in order to accuse someone to the police that hasn't done anything wrong except that you just don't like him, and then release it to the news, hoping that the news will slander this person and ruin his life. That's like murder. If you could do everything of murder except shoot the man, that's like trying to destroy someone. I think we should love America. I think we should love everyone. I think we should be all together on the same side as friends. I don't think that we should be, falsely accusing people to the police in order to try to destroy their lives just because we're sad that we lost a presidential election. Well, guess what? The American people voted in 2016, and we said we want President Trump. So God bless him and God protect him in Jesus' name. And so you know what? I've walked all this way around. The most I've gotten is one person gave me the finger. Probably several hundred people just looked at me funny. Maybe 100 people out of maybe 600 people that saw me. Maybe 700 people who saw me. Maybe 100 of them gave me a dirty look. 5 or 600 of them just, they were just staring at me. Another 100 of them just wouldn't even look at me because they're probably too busy. And only one guy gave me the finger. And 2 or 3 people honked or smiled or said something nice. So they're in their car, but so I think more people should be brave enough to wear a red hat and to get out there and just create the dissent, create a difference of opinion. Go out there, challenge the ideas of other people by presenting them a contrast. Be the contrast. Be different. Be individual. Be unique. Be polite. Question people's beliefs. Question what they think. Ask them, why do you think that? Why do you have prejudice against me? Why do you have prejudice? Why do you believe this fake story that isn't true? Why do you believe a story that's not true? To accuse me of whatever when it's not even true. So, the only way that things change is if people stand in the open and say something about it. And, people join together as a group. Do you know that Barack Hussein Obama, he canceled free speech across America? He said that free speech is over. People are not allowed to have free speech. People were not allowed to go in front of the White House and pray. People have always been allowed to go in front of the White House lawn and pray, to pray over the White House, to pray over the president, to pray over the United States of America. But President Barry Soetoro, Barack Hussein Obama, because that is his birth name. He did grow up in Indonesia, going to a mosque every day, believing in socialism, making friends with the likes of Jane Fonda, making friends with the likes of violent radicals, smoking weed as a young man. Not to say that you can't, grow up from that, but he didn't. He still believes all those things. And he canceled free speech so that, a bunch of teenage girls, in high tops and pink t-shirts who gathered together in front of the White House to pray in Jesus' name, he threw them in jail. Do you know that? Do you know that there are entire towns in Michigan that Barack Hussein Obama said, we have canceled free speech in this area. You're not allowed to have free speech. I'm talking about walking on the sidewalk. You're not allowed to walk on the sidewalk and have free speech. You're not allowed to criticize Islam. It's not Islam, because it's not really obedient to God. God is Jesus. People who are following Muhammad are disobedient. They are Muslims. They're not Muslims, they're Muslims, because they're following a false prophet who had 9 wives. And he would have sex with them all in one night. And that's what the Quran and the Hadith say. He was a madman. He was a military general. He took over Arabia. He slaughtered entire villages. Jesus Christ never slaughtered anyone. Jesus Christ never slaughtered people. Jesus Christ never had a wife or a girlfriend. Not that we can see. But there's entire cities and towns in Michigan where people are not allowed to wave the American flag or to criticize Islam or to say their free speech and opinions, because Barack Obama said free speech is over. And he said, the Second Amendment is over. But, that's, liberals, and if you're a liberal, you're still listening to this, or you've skipped to the end. Why don't you go look at what Adolf Hitler was campaigning? What were his campaign promises? He promised to make abortion free and legal, to promote abortion, to promote socialism, to promote a welfare system. He promised the German people national health care, universalized health care from the government. He promised people a welfare system and a safety net. He promised them government control of industries. He promised people redistribution of wealth. He confiscated. He promised to ban and confiscate all guns, and he first registered every single firearm that existed in the entire German country, and then he confiscated them all. Police kicking down doors to steal your weapons. And then I read the story of Corrie ten Boom. Go look at Corrie ten Boom, her biography. The Nazis started to ban and confiscate radios and Victrolas and record players, because people with a radio would be able to broadcast or listen to free thought, free speech. People with a Victrola could have a recording of something that was different than the Nazi belief system. And that's exactly what the Nazis are doing today. The fascists, the leftists, the Democrats, the liberals, that's what they're doing today. They ban anyone who has a different viewpoint, and they take away your ability to listen by blocking you off of YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. These are radical left-wing companies. They're not politically neutral, they're radically left-wing. Google is radically left-wing. They deliberately and knowingly use their Google search engine in order to punish and remove people and to slander people who are not left-wing. Well, we had to fight the left wing in 1935, and I think we should continue to resist them, to persist. So if you're a liberal and you're listening to this, or you skip to the end, I think that you should walk away, and that there's a car that's running, but there's nobody inside. And you should just look at the deeper issues, step back from what you believe for 10 minutes, and look at the other side. I'm talking about, look at what Rand Paul has to say. Look at what Ben Carson has to say. Look at what Kanye has to say. Look at what Coleon Noir has to say. Look at what people, look at what anyone has to say who's a part of the Tea Party, part of conservatives. Look at what Donald Trump has to say. People call Donald Trump stupid, but they don't listen to his videos. When's the last time you watched to Donald Trump's 10-minute video? Maybe you listened to 3 seconds, from CNN, but you didn't watch the whole video. Why don't you go to Donald Trump's YouTube channel, to the White House YouTube channel, they're on YouTube, and just listen to what he has to say. He'll give a long, nice speech. He's a very good speaker. And, me, I listen to his whole speech. I listen to what he has to say. He's not dumb. He's very smart. And he's doing amazing things for America and for people like you. So I recommend that you just step back for a minute, step back from your anger, step back from your hate, and start thinking about listening to the other side, listening to other people, to see what they have to say about life. And you know what? I just walked through the middle of my whole town, and the most people did was 90% of them, they just stared at me like, kind of weird. Most of them, they were just staring, just curious. About, 10% of them gave me an angry look. 100% of the people who walked past me on the sidewalk, like right next to me, going one way or the other, they didn't interact with me at all. They didn't really care. And, 3 people were actually honking or being nice and saying, hello. So, it's not dangerous at all. So, I don't think that conservatives should be afraid in California to just wear your red hat and demonstrate who you are and what you believe in. When you live in a society where the threat of physical violence tells you that you're not allowed to have free speech, you're not allowed to have certain opinions, you're not allowed to oppose the one-party system of the left-wing dictatorship, when liberals are threatening you with Antifa and baseball bats and whatever, they're threatening you with physical violence because your free opinions are not allowed, when you're not allowed on certain parts of social media, you're not allowed on YouTube, you're not allowed in Facebook groups, you're not allowed on Facebook, you're not allowed on Twitter, you're not allowed on Pinterest. Every time I post historical documentaries about, the false prophet Muhammad and the things that he did, which were very violent. And Pinterest is not going to permit it because there's some knowledge that Pinterest thinks you're not allowed to have. You're not allowed to know these things. That Muhammad had 9 wives, that he had sex with all 9 wives every single night, that he slaughtered entire villages, that he commanded that non-believers and Jewish people and Christians should all be killed. Go look up the Quran, the verse in the Quran where it says that Christians should be crucified. The Quran says that I should have my left hand and my right foot chopped off on opposite sides, and then they should crucify me. And that's exactly what ISIS did to a bunch of Christians, boys and girls, teenagers, stripped them naked, chopped off their hands and their feet, and nailed them up to a cross and crucified them. And that's why we fought ISIS, because it's a crusade. We fought the ISIS in the year 1200. That was the same Islamic State. That's what the Islamic State just recently they were trying to recreate, was the same thing that the Crusaders fought against. Why did the Crusaders fight against Islam back then? Because they did the exact same sort of stuff that the Islamic State did today. Why do they call themselves the Islamic State? Because they are trying to rebuild what the Crusaders tried to destroy. Because they want to be and to do the exact same things, because that's what the Quran tells them to do. So, I think you should subscribe to PewDiePie. 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 He's a video gamer, and he has free speech, free opinions. He thinks he says what he thinks. And you know what? Subscribe to David Wood at Acts 17, ACTS 17 Apologetics. Acts 17 Apologetics. David Wood. And he's an expert in Islam. He is a world-renowned debater. He's an expert on the subject matter. And you should listen to him because he has some good stuff to say. And I think that you should just listen to, Michael Savage, Mark Levin, Sean Hannity, Rush Limbaugh, Sussman, Dan Bogino, and all the other people who are together on that radio group. And just, free thought. I mean, there's too many sources. Look at The Blaze is a good news source. Just listen to different people. There's so many sources, even just individuals on YouTube like myself, but I'm nowhere near them because very few people know me. But, just there's so many people to listen to. Go look at Blue Collar Logic. He used to be a Democrat until he saw how it wasn't really the right way to live. It wasn't really a true belief system. It wasn't really right. It was not right and wrong. It was wrong. So he Blue Collar Logic. Go look at Turning Point USA. Go look at Diamond and Silk. Diamond and Silk. 2 African American ladies, and they love America and they love Donald Trump. It's not true. If you are attacking fellow African Americans because they're conservatives, then you're still on the plantation, and they sent you to go bring these people back to go. That's what they used to do on the plantation. If someone ran away to get away from the plantation, what oftentimes they would do is they would send other slaves to go hunt them down and bring them back and punish them. That's what happened. And I hate to bring up this topic, but it's true. That's what the South would do. That's what the Democrats would do. They would send other slaves. The left-wing Democrats, they were trying to, prevent, African-American people from voting because all the African-Americans were voting Republican because the Republicans freed them from slavery and the Democrats were just brutalizing them and treating them bad. So the African-American people voted Republican. And so that's one of the reasons why the Democrats tried to keep African-American people from voting. That's why the Democrats created the KKK. And you know what? Even today, they expect you to vote Democrat, and instead of using physical violence, they just use insults and racism and accuse you. If you vote conservative, then you're not really black, and they say mean words at you. Well, what you should do is vote conservative anyway and tell them, you know what, I am black. Maybe you're not black. Or, don't even say that because maybe that's not right. Just say, you know what, I am black. You can't expect me to vote a certain way. I don't vote for the party of the plantation, which is the Democrats. I just encourage you to look at so many good people. Look at Prager University, Prageru, Prager University on YouTube. And they're just really good history videos. So thanks for watching. And this is just proof that you can walk around with your red hat and not have anyone treat you almost anything different. Most you'll get is some looks. So